Am I the jerk? Number 5.
Am I the jerk for telling my mom she can't name my baby after her? I, 25 female, am expecting my first baby with my partner, 31 male, and my mom has already started pushing for us to name the baby after her. She's been very insistent that if it's a girl, the baby should have her first name, and if it's a boy, the middle name should be hers. I understand she's excited, but the thing is, I'm just not comfortable with it. My mom and I have had a somewhat unhealthy relationship over the years, and while I love her, I don't want to name my child after her. I've mentioned that to her a few times, but she keeps insisting, saying I owe it to her and that it would be a special gift. I politely told her that my partner and I have our own ideas for names, and while we appreciate her suggestions, we've made our decision. She's now upset and says I'm being selfish, and that I'm not honoring her properly. I feel bad, but at the same time, it's my baby, and I don't want to name my child after someone who hasn't been the greatest influence in my life. Am I the jerk for standing my ground on this? Am I the jerk for laughing at my ex-husband's wife when she called me hysterically because my kids didn't choose to go to Disney with them on Mother's Day? My ex-husband, both 40s, and I share a 16-year-old son, 15-year-old daughter, and a 14-year-old son together. We separated when I was pregnant with our 14-year-old, and we officially divorced when he was 1. We have a very detailed court-ordered parenting and custody agreement that I have always followed to the T. This is to avoid adding conflict to an already higher conflict situation. For those who'll ask, my ex-husband's wife was not the reason we broke up. He did cheat on me during my 3rd pregnancy, and this was due to it being a high-risk pregnancy where I could not engage in any sexual activity with him. He felt it was a good reason to sleep with others. I did not. He has always believed I was unfair to him. Yet he did go through a paternity drama with one of the women he slept with during that time. He was proven not to be the father, but he expected me to be okay with him having unprotected sex with someone else. All of this has made it difficult for us to co-parent. It's why we need everything spelled out and why we communicate via parenting app mostly. Our youngest has a medical issue, so texting and calling is sometimes a requirement. My ex-husband remarried 4 years after our divorce was finalized. From the beginning of their relationship, there were issues with his wife and our children. His wife was all over the place with our kids and appeared to take her fertility troubles out on our children by being short and snapping at them or making them feel like a problem in the home. Yet she also wanted them to call her mom, and she wanted them to spend more time with her. There were times we returned to court over the issues in my ex's home. My ex tried to paint it was me alienating the kids from his wife, but he and his wife got 3 warnings for the very thing he accused me of. The judge said repeatedly encouraging children to call a person other than their parents' mom or dad was suggesting alienation of some kind. The warnings were spaced out enough that no consequences were ever given as a result. My ex and his wife were ordered to take parenting classes several years ago also. I always encourage my kids to not be cruel to the woman their dad is married to. But they don't like her and they don't respect her really. They show her some respect, but they don't actually have any for her. My older son and my daughter have particularly had some encounters with her where they lost respect for her. They were in therapy for many years because the burden of this woman's infertility and IVF struggles were shared with them, and done so in a way that was meant to coerce them to give her what she wanted. The therapists were godsends to us during that time. Last year, all 3 of my children were deemed old enough to decide whether they saw their father 50-50 as they had previously, or whether 1 weekend a month would be the new parenting time split. All 3 chose to reduce their time to 1 weekend a month. This was something my ex and his new wife didn't like and tried to fight, but the kids say was given more weight. My ex and his wife did eventually have 2 children together. Yesterday they decided to go to Disney with the kids to celebrate Mother's Day. My ex called and asked me to let our kids come. I gave my kids the choice and they answered never. I already expected that, but I didn't want to deny them the chance if they wanted it. My ex was furious, but I ended the second call and ignored further texts from him. Then I got a call from an unknown number around 3 p.m. and it was his wife. She was hysterically crying down the phone about my kids not being there and how they were supposed to be because they're her kids too. I laughed at her antics and ended the call. I got around a dozen texts in the next 2 hours, and then my ex texted me last night and this morning telling me I was heartless and suggesting I should appreciate his wife loves our kids this much. My issue was never her being good to them. It was the way she treated them. The hot and cold, the demands and expectations and attempts to guilt trip them. It's the way she acted like she had as much of a right to be their mom as I had, and all because at the time she had no kids and had fertility troubles. It's the way she made my ex's home hell for my kids. My ex allowing it is not something I've forgotten either. But I think it's crazy to think I should be grateful for any of this. But maybe I'm being an asshole. So I'll ask the people of Reddit. Am I the jerk?
Am I the jerk? I won't let my sister meet my son because of her views on surrogacy. When my husband, 32 male, and I, 28 male, told our families about our intentions to have a child within the next year, my sister, 34 female, is the only one who reacted with anything other than support. For our first baby, my husband and I decided on going the surrogacy route. My sister seemingly took this as a personal attack. She spent the rest of the dinner my parents were hosting essentially ranting about how surrogacy is misogynistic, exploitative, that we're gross for wanting to rent a woman's body. Okay, sure. You can have your thoughts on the process. But it didn't end there. Every time we gave an update to family and she was in attendance, she would make it a point of reminding us how she felt. Our son was born a little over 2 months ago. We've been keeping him to ourselves since he was born so his immune system strengthens, but we've been slowly introducing him to more people lately. My husband's parents came over 2 weeks ago, and then my parents came last weekend. Yesterday, my sister texted to ask when she could meet the baby and I told her I didn't particularly want someone around him who was so against his entire existence. I said that if she had it her way, my son wouldn't even be here. She says I'm being unfair, but I just can't imagine her around my child when she was so adamantly disdainful towards us during his conception and throughout the pregnancy. Am I the jerk? Edit, my husband and I are both men. It's in the first line of the post.
Am I the jerk for sunbathing topless at my own house and kicking out my husband's sister and her family? I, 25 female, had started sunbathing topless next to our backyard pool. I had no idea anyone was coming and I was shocked when I saw my husband's sister Chloe, her husband Mike, and their 8-year-old son come up to me. They were staring at my boobs and Chloe, 38 female, stood over me while saying, "Really? Topless while we're coming over?" And Mike just kept staring and I didn't know WTF to say and I ended up covering my nipples with my arm and Chloe pulled them back towards the house. I put on my top and went inside and Chloe gave me a dirty look and told me not to leave all of my boobs hanging out for her husband and kid to see next time. Also, a previous time we hung out, she had told me to cover up more around her husband, but we were literally both wearing bikinis, just my boobs are bigger. I blew up on them saying I didn't know they were even coming over and my husband apologized to Chloe saying he forgot to tell me and he thought he already did. Apparently she texted him earlier, and he had let them in. I was mad and I told them they needed to leave and they said that their son was looking forward to our pool and my husband tried to calm me down but I pushed them out. Am I the jerk?
That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below what you thought about these stories. Do you really think they were the jerks? Here are some other videos I highly recommend. See you next time.